Now, this is quite a discovery. Fragments of a biblical scroll, along with other relics, have been found in desert caves.
Archaeologists just discovered a 3,476-year-old book in Egypt, known as the Book of Enoch, which reveals terrifying details about early human existence. These findings could completely change our perception of the world and the afterlife. Hidden for millennia, archaeologists are just beginning to uncover why it was concealed. Why have many died after reading its pages? Let us explore how this text reveals not only the origins, but also the masters of humankind. Enoch, the man who never died. Enoch is an important character in the Bible. He is one of the few people, along with Elijah and Jesus, who did not die. Instead, the Bible says God took him away so he didn't have a normal death. This happened because Enoch was very dedicated to God. Unlike others in the Bible, there isn't much detail about how he avoided death, which makes people very curious. His name, Enoch, is different from similar names like Hanuk, Hanok, and Hano found in the Bible. His story begins with his birth to his father, Jared, who was 162 years old at the time, making Enoch a great-grandson of Adam. Enoch later had a son named Methuselah, who lived longer than any other human, 969 years.
Of a biblical book that were discovered in an archaeological excavation.
After Methuselah was born, the Bible doesn't say much about what happened to Enoch, making his story even more intriguing. Enoch's name tells us who he was, where he came from, and how he lived his life. Although he's only mentioned in 3 verses, his name and his family background show that he was Hebrew. He is as respected as other famous Old Testament prophets like Noah, Abraham, and Moses. His name means committed or dedicated, which shows how much he devoted his life to God. Unlike others of his time, Enoch's name points to a unique role in the Bible. He stood out because he closely followed God and dedicated his service to him. It's not clear how long he lived, and there's a lot we don't know about him and his achievements. He had other children, but only his son Methuselah is well known. The ancient Egyptian Book of Enoch presents a daunting view of human existence. It records that Enoch made several travels to heaven. On one occasion before ascending, he gathered a large group to teach them about morality, kindness, integrity, and the importance of following God's ways. It is said that over 2,000 people witnessed his ascent to heaven. Enoch was considered a favorite of God and was both highly revered and feared as a symbol of God's presence. This relationship was unlike the typical connections the Hebrews had with God, who, unlike the gods of other cultures, was not visible or tangible. Further in the Book of Enoch, there is an account of a great flood. Enoch and his brothers are said to have constructed an altar for worship and offering tributes to God. During one of these offerings, Enoch is said to have entered God's presence and performed a ritual that caused the altar to shake violently and a knife to appear in his hands. This event underscores the unique nature of his relationship with God compared to others of his time. Recent scholarly and religious investigations have led to an interesting finding. A manuscript over 3,000 years old, found in Egypt, might reveal more unsettling truths about human history as perceived thousands of years ago and seen in a vision. Beyond his religious contributions, Enoch stands out as a key figure in human history and as one of the early prophets before the Great Flood. The Book of Enoch is noted for being the first to transform spoken language into written symbols, recording human thoughts and events. It is believed that many ancient texts from Enoch's era, possibly authored by him or his kin, have not yet been fully interpreted, containing potential insights into the past. Numerous scholars believe that Enoch wrote a variety of significant texts known as pseudepigraphic midrashim, including works titled Hanok, Sef Hanok, and Hayat Rabati Sephalot. These writings are considered the basis for what is known as the Book of Enoch, a compilation that has profoundly changed our understanding of both spirituality and human history. Initially overlooked when discovered, this 3,000-year-old book later caught the attention of academics who suspected it contained insights about future events. Among Christians, it is commonly accepted that Jesus endured suffering, died, and was resurrected to save humanity from sins, and that Elijah was the only individual who escaped death. Enoch's tale, however, is unique. According to ancient texts, he was taken up by God, thus never facing death. This act is seen as a special favor from God, noted throughout history for its uniqueness. This book's contents warrant further exploration. Scholars have divided the Book of Enoch into 5 primary sections: the Book of Watchers, the Book of Parables of Enoch, the Book of Luminaries, the Book of Dreams, and the Epistles of Enoch. Various theologians and historical religious figures have translated and debated these writings. Whether this book should be included in the Bible and studied by Christians has been a subject of intense discussion. During its translation, numerous discrepancies arose between the teachings of this book and established Christian doctrines and practices. Although the book claims inspiration from the Holy Spirit, some argue that it is unnecessary and its complex symbols and imagery could mislead believers about the core principles of their faith. Ethiopia has been instrumental in preserving the sacred text, especially by highlighting its teachings. The Ethiopian Orthodox Teado Church, situated on a hill and built from stone, engraved with ancient writings, stands as a guardian of this legacy. With a following of over 45 million people, this church is one of the largest in the world. Ethiopia has taken steps to preserve its rich cultural heritage by opening several historical sites to tourists. This church contains many ancient spiritual writings and literature that are found nowhere else in the world. Attempts have been made to translate some of these writings into English to enrich the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible. Find out how old writings from long ago show that Enoch's story had a big impact on early Christian beliefs. Finding Enoch's writings. The manuscripts of the Book of Enoch that James Bruce brought from Ethiopia in 1773 shed light on how early Christian practices were heavily influenced by the customs and beliefs of Second Temple Judaism, and how these beliefs evolved over time. Richard Lawrence, a scholar, started translating these classical texts in 1821. These manuscripts, part of a larger collection found by Bruce, included fragments of early Christian writings and pieces written in Greek. They were organized into various segments such as the Epistle of Enoch, the Book of Dreams, the Book of Watchers, and the Astronomical Book, collectively known as the Times of Enoch. Other segments, sometimes referred to as the Parables of Enoch or simply the Book of Parables, were also examined and classified as studies of human cultures. The discovery of these ancient manuscripts sparked considerable excitement among scholars and religious figures in Europe. In 1906, R.H. Charles published a translation from Ethiopia, which is still regarded as one of the most accurate and comprehensive translations of the Book of Enoch. This translation not only renders the original text into another language, but also explains the book's significance, offers a detailed overview of Enoch's life, and simplifies the content for better understanding. R.H. Charles organized the book into various sections, including an introduction, details on the end times, the Book of Courses of Heavenly Luminaries, a historical account of the children of Israel, and a summary of the 10 epochs. This structure helped clarify topics related to the cosmos, religious teachings, and ancient history. Over the years, several editions of this book have been released, including versions that are expanded with clarifications, simplified, or rewritten in modern language. The Book of Enoch, often discussed in religious circles, is a complex and debated text from the Second Temple period. Some scholars argue it should be added to the Protestant Bible's Apocrypha section, which lies between the Old and New Testaments. Experts like Joseph Haley suggest that the original language of this book was Aramaic, while others like Charles believe it was written in a mix of Hebrew and Aramaic, reflecting the diverse linguistic environment of that era. Ethiopia's Jewish community holds this book in high regard, linking their ancestry to Enoch, a distant forebear of King Solomon. According to their traditions, the rich and powerful Queen of Sheba heard of Solomon's divine heritage and visited him. She had no previous connections with Solomon or his family, but brought splendid gifts to acknowledge his royal and divine lineage. Their meeting, steeped in respect and recognition of Solomon's godly ancestry, led to their marriage, a union that Ethiopian stories credit with founding their Solomonic dynasty through their son, Menelik I. The task of pinpointing the exact language spoken by Jews during Enoch's time is challenging due to the evolution of languages. Scholars debate between ancient Hebrew and Aramaic, with some suggesting that Greek might make some translations more accessible. Richard Beckham points out that insights from experts familiar with Jewish traditions could help identify the language's origins, particularly if the text can be dated to the era when the Second Temple stood. The significance of Enoch's writings was not fully appreciated until significant discoveries were made in Egypt and at Qumran Cave 4, where fragments of these texts were found. Before 1947, these ancient Aramaic fragments were overlooked and not considered valuable. The discovery of these manuscripts near the Dead Sea sparked a new interest in their content. Known as asas, these writings provide a glimpse into the religious and cultural practices of the time, as well as the early development of Christianity and ancient Judaism. They challenge the previous belief that this ancient book, over 3,000 years old, held little valuable information and might reveal unsettling truths about human history. In the Book of the Watchers, the first part of Enoch's book, he explains his understanding of the cosmos, including the stars, sun, seasons, and the earth. He shares the blessings he received and the divine visions he experienced. He also describes strange beings that appeared when fallen angels mingled with human women, leading to unusual occurrences. In subsequent sections, Enoch shares moral stories and details about the stars in the universe. His second dream vision, predicting disasters separated by 52 years, is discussed in another part. The book concludes with letters where Enoch advises his family to repent and follow divine laws, and he gives specific guidance to his son Methuselah on leading a life according to God's will. In the 7th chapter of his book, Enoch delves into the different types of angels. He categorizes them as either loyal angels who continued to serve God, or rebellious angels, known as watchers, who chose to spread chaos and encourage wrongdoing among humans, aligning themselves with Satan instead of God. This story also details how these disobedient angels were attracted to human women, leading to the birth of giants called the Nephilim. Furthermore, these fallen angels taught humans harmful knowledge through rituals and sorcery. Thus, the Book of Enoch remains a significant, albeit controversial, text that not only offers deep insights into celestial hierarchies and theological concepts, but also serves as a profound reflection on the interplay of divine and dark forces as understood in ancient religious traditions. It prompts readers to ponder the depth and impact of ancient writings on modern interpretations of spiritual history, challenging us to reconsider the narratives handed down through generations. The Aramaic name given to these rebellious beings ties them to demonic figures, reminiscent of evil goats. This image connects to a Jewish practice during Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, where a goat is laden with the community's wrongdoings and cast down a mountain. This act symbolizes the community's efforts to right their wrongs and secure forgiveness from God. While many other ancient writings are filled with shocking and intense stories, this specific tradition highlights human attempts to reconcile with divine expectations and achieve redemption. Follow Enoch as he travels through the heavens, meeting angels and learning amazing things about the stars. The Son of Man in Enoch's stories. The term Son of Man, extensively utilized in the Book of Enoch, is also prominent in the New Testament, where Jesus Christ uses it often, presumably to emphasize his own humanity. Yet its use in the Book of Enoch predates Jesus and suggests a broader interpretation that spans Hebrew, Aramaic, and older religious texts. In this context, Son of Man generally refers to humanity as a whole, though it can also specifically identify a group characterized by a unique understanding of themselves. The prophet Ezekiel, in the Hebrew Bible, frequently describes himself using this term to highlight his human qualities and vulnerabilities, in contrast to divine or supernatural beings, focusing on his human feelings and characteristics. This designation is further explored in the New Testament narratives about Jesus, where it not only confirms his human nature, vulnerable to pain and destined to die, but also underscores his sacred role. He is depicted as a blessed individual, chosen by God to undertake a critical mission, the salvation of all who follow Christianity. In a broader description, the Book of Enoch details Enoch's travels through various heavens, with a particularly grim depiction of the second heaven. This realm is more sorrowful than earth, populated by anguished angelic figures who suffer greatly as they wait for divine judgment. This heaven acts as a holding area for fallen angels, once rebellious followers of their own leader, now confined in a celestial jail designated for insurgents. These so-called evil watchers endure endless suffering as punishment for their insubordination. Enoch's narrative continues as he describes his path through what he calls the celestial orbit or heavenly circle, paralleling the orbital paths of planets in our solar system. Employing names from Greek mythology for clarity, he aligns Kronos with Saturn, positioned at the highest celestial level, followed by Aphrodite representing Venus, Ares for Mars, Zeus corresponding to Jupiter, and Hermes associated with Mercury, with the lowest layer akin to our moon's path. This structured depiction of the heavens provides a clear and organized map of ancient cosmic views. Further, Enoch elaborates on the cosmos divided into three distinct realms he names SOA. The first realm relates to the physical world, visible, measurable, and substantial, similar to what we see and feel around us. The second realm exists in a more abstract form, found in our thoughts and imaginations, symbolizing spaces that are conceptual rather than physical. The third realm, intriguingly described, is a domain influencing all other realms, intertwined with human, societal, and historical dimensions. The path extends as Enoch encounters celestial elders responsible for managing the stars and observes 200 angels who direct the movements of heavenly bodies. He explores the storage places of snow, ice, clouds, and dew, guided by angels managing these resources. Through these experiences, Enoch gains a deeper understanding of how divine forces organize both earthly and celestial occurrences. His accounts invite readers to rethink established beliefs about life, existence, and the broader workings of the universe, presenting profound insights into the interconnectedness of all things. The Book of Two Ways, a notable ancient text from Egypt, maps out two challenging routes through the afterlife, which was a realm filled with obstacles according to their beliefs. These routes, one on land and the other by water, were so complex that they required a guidebook to help the deceased navigate to Rostau, the domain believed to be overseen by Osiris, the god associated with death. This guidebook is considered by some to be among the earliest forms of illustrated literature, crafted specifically to address the trials that awaited in the afterlife. Recent archaeological findings have uncovered what might be the oldest known version of the Book of Two Ways, approximately 4,000 years old. This discovery, detailed in a scholarly article in the Journal of Egyptian Archaeology, pushes back the origins of recorded literature and highlights the lengths to which the ancient Egyptians went to understand and prepare for what they believed came after. Rita Lucarelli, affiliated with the University of California, Berkeley, comments on the Egyptians' preoccupation with all forms of existence, emphasizing their view of death as merely another phase of existence. The discovery of this particular version of the Book of Two Ways occurred in 2012 during an excavation in Deir el-Bersha. It was found inside a coffin within a burial shaft, a location that had been overlooked by both past grave robbers and archaeologists, which suggests its significance might not have been fully recognized until this discovery. Unlike modern books, this ancient text was not found as a separate volume. Rather, excerpts were inscribed inside the sarcophagus itself, preserved on decaying cedar panels adorned with hieroglyphs and images. These inscriptions are dated back to the time of Pharaoh Mentuhotep II. Such texts, often referred to as coffin texts, were strategically placed with the dead, providing them with the necessary guidance in the divine realm. The sarcophagus where this book was found belonged to a woman of high status named Ankh. Intriguingly, the instructions intended for her in the afterlife referred to her as he, reflecting ancient Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife, where a gender association with male gods, particularly Osiris, was deemed advantageous. The guidebook, customized for Ankh, indicated that her passage might have been fraught with unique challenges, such as encircling flames and encounters with demonic beings, hinting at a potentially tumultuous travel. The text included specific spells for protection, suggesting that these incantations were crucial for her safety and passage through the afterlife. Look into the ancient Egyptian Book of Two Ways, which offers advice and guidance for navigating the afterlife's challenges. Paths to the afterlife in Egypt. The drawings and symbols in the Book of Two Ways are full of tangled lines and scary figures that are hard to understand today. Some experts think these pictures are more about ceremonies for bringing back gods or people from the dead, not just about helping the dead travel in the afterlife. This shows that the Egyptians believed in coming back to life after death, seeing death as a move to another life. That's why books like the Book of Two Ways are often found in Egyptian graves. A recent find by the Egyptologist Wael Sherbini, a leather scroll, might show even older evidence of such texts, but his study hasn't been shared yet. As new things are found, archaeologists rush to share these exciting discoveries, keeping everyone updated on these historical breakthroughs. The Dead Sea area is scattered with fragments of ancient writings, remains of larger documents that have been damaged by time or human actions. Among these are a small number of well-preserved manuscripts, barely a dozen, found within the Qumran caves. Scholars have painstakingly gathered these fragments into a collection of 981 distinct manuscripts, unearthed over the years 1946, 1947, and 1956 from 11 caves near a settlement once inhabited by a group of Hellenistic Jews at Khirbet Qumran, located approximately 1 mile west of the northwestern shore of the Dead Sea. Traditionally, researchers believed that a Jewish sect known as the Essenes was responsible for creating these scrolls. However, this viewpoint has been challenged by more recent analyses, which suggest that perhaps priests from Jerusalem, members of a group called the Zadokites, or other lesser-known Jewish groups, might have been the authors. The manuscripts are primarily written in Hebrew, with portions in Aramaic, such as the text referred to as Son of God. They also feature a variety of regional dialects, including Nabatean, and some are written in Greek. Additionally, texts discovered in other parts of the Judean desert have included writings in Latin from the site of Masada and Arabic from the location known as Khirbet al-Mird. The majority of these texts were inscribed on parchment, although some were written on papyrus. The Dead Sea Scrolls are generally dated by scholars to the period from the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CE. However, other manuscripts from the broader region of the Judean desert have been dated as far back as the 8th century BCE and as recent as the 11th century CE. A collection of bronze coins discovered at these sites starts with coins from the era of John Hyrcanus, who ruled from 135 to 104 BCE, and continues through the time of the First Jewish-Roman War, which occurred from 66 to 73 CE. This collection of coins supports the dating achieved through paleographic studies and radiocarbon testing of the scrolls. In a parallel discovery, archaeologists recently unearthed the pyramid of a previously unknown queen situated near the tomb of the famous King Tutankhamun. Found a century after the discovery of King Tut's tomb, this site included several coffins, mummies, and a network of interconnected underground tunnels. The queen was identified as Neith, though she has not been recorded in any known historical texts. This gap in the historical record has left experts like Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former state minister for antiquities, eager to uncover more about her rule and her story. The excavation site is located about 20 miles south of Cairo in an area known as Saqqara. It is believed that the coffins and mummies found here might belong to some of King Tutankhamun's closest advisors and generals. King Tutankhamun, who ruled from 1333 BCE until his death in 1323 BCE, was a young pharaoh whose burial site became world famous when it was discovered in 1922. During this recent excavation, the team also investigated a nearby pyramid that was built for Teti, the first king of Egypt's 6th dynasty. Teti was revered as a god during the later New Kingdom period, and many people desired to be buried near him. This excavation near Teti's pyramid has yielded nearly 300 coffins, most of which are in good condition. Previously, most known burials in this area were dated to the Old Kingdom or the late period of Egyptian history, suggesting that the area has been a significant burial site across different eras. A team from the University of Malaga and the University of Jaén in Spain has uncovered Egypt's oldest tomb, designed to capture the first rays of the sun on the winter solstice. Announced in late November, this significant find dates back to around 1830 BCE during the tail end of Egypt's 12th dynasty. The tomb is believed to belong to a governor from the ancient city of Elephantine. The discovery, detailed in a recent issue of Mediterranean Archaeology and Archaeometry, showcases the advanced understanding and application of astronomy by ancient Egyptian architects. They used simple tools, a pole about 3 feet long, a square, and some ropes to precisely align the tomb with the winter solstice sunrise, an event symbolizing rebirth and renewal. This day marked the beginning of the sun's triumph over the dark as days started to grow longer. The summer solstice, occurring when the sun reached its highest point in the sky, was equally significant, coinciding with the Nile's annual flooding, crucial for irrigation and linked symbolically to the resurrection of the deceased. The excavation of this tomb, labeled as number 33, was carried out from 2008 to 2018 and attributed to a likely patron, Governor Hekhaib. This finding is particularly notable because it provides clear evidence of the Egyptians' capability to integrate architectural design with astronomical events, a practice that was probably common yet is seldom preserved in the archaeological record. This tomb is not just an isolated example, but a part of a broader Egyptian tradition of constructing monumental structures that reflect sophisticated geometric knowledge and a deep connection to the solar cycles that were critical to agricultural and ceremonial life in ancient Egypt. See what exciting new finds at Saqqara reveal about the burial practices and beliefs of ancient Egyptians, shedding light on their world. Hidden tombs and tunnels in Egypt. In parallel, another archaeological team led by Kathleen Martinez from the University of Santo Domingo has made an intriguing discovery at Taposiris Magna, an ancient Egyptian city. They unearthed a tunnel 43 feet below the ground, stretching over 4,281 feet through sandstone, an architectural feat that they described as a geometrical miracle. This tunnel, reminiscent of ancient Greek engineering marvels like the 6th century BCE tunnel of Eupalinos in Samos, is partly submerged in water, and its full purpose is still to be determined. Martinez speculates that this tunnel could be crucial in her long-standing search for Cleopatra VII's lost tomb. Cleopatra VII, known for her dramatic life and reign as the last pharaoh of Egypt's Ptolemaic dynasty, died in 30 BCE. The site of Taposiris Magna has yielded numerous artifacts, including coins bearing the likenesses of Cleopatra and Alexander the Great, as well as statuettes of Isis which link the area closely with the end of Ptolemaic rule in Egypt. These discoveries not only highlight the architectural and engineering skill of ancient civilizations, but also open new doors to understanding the historical and cultural context of the regions they studied. The recent excavation in the Saqqara necropolis near Cairo brought to light a mummy named Hekashepes, believed to be about 4,300 years old, wrapped in gold. This discovery was made in January 2023 and has attracted considerable attention. The mummy was found in a well-preserved state, unusual for its time, within a limestone sarcophagus in a burial shaft. Archaeologists suggest this could be one of the oldest and most complete mummies discovered, offering significant insights into the burial traditions of early ancient Egyptian civilization. Researchers plan to analyze the skeleton and teeth to gather information about Hekashepes' origin, his diet, his health, how old he was when he died, and what might have caused his death. This could provide a rare look into the lives of people from a time when not much is known about how the general population lived, what they ate, or the diseases they faced. As the year progressed, the same necropolis yielded more findings. 2 embalming workshops dating back to the 30th dynasty, roughly 2,400 years ago, were discovered. These workshops were equipped with stone beds, clay pots, and the tools used in mummification, shedding light on the technical aspects of how ancient Egyptians prepared bodies for burial. Alongside these workshops, the tombs of Nehesi, a priest from the 5th dynasty, and Menkaber, a priest from a later period, were also found. The walls of these tombs are covered with hieroglyphics that illustrate various aspects of daily life, such as farming, hunting, and scenes showing the deceased. Such finds help to paint a fuller picture of the cultural and religious life in ancient Egypt, giving us a glimpse into their artistic and spiritual expressions. Additionally, a joint effort by Dutch and Italian archaeologists, in collaboration with Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, led to the discovery of an underground tomb complex dating back to about 3,200 years ago. This complex is associated with a prominent steward of the Amun Temple from the time of Pharaoh Ramses II, around 1250 BCE. The architectural sophistication of the complex is evident in its detailed features, which include a freestanding temple with an elaborate entrance, a courtyard lined with columns, a passageway to underground burial chambers, and 3 beautifully decorated chapels. Inside the tomb, the walls are adorned with images of Panasi and his wife Baya engaged in sacred rituals, including a distinctive stone relief showing the couple at an offering table with a priest adorned in a leopard skin. These depictions offer a deep dive into the religious practices and the social structure of that era, indicating the roles and statuses within the temple hierarchy. These continuous discoveries at Saqqara not only highlight the rich burial practices and the religious life of ancient Egyptians, but also emphasize the advanced level of their architectural and artistic achievements. Each new find at the necropolis enriches our understanding of how the ancient Egyptians viewed life, death, and the afterlife, illustrating their profound connection to and respect for the cycles of nature and existence. While these insights are captivating, they also challenge us to consider how much more there is to uncover and understand about this fascinating civilization, beyond the grandeur of gold and the visible splendor of their monumental constructions. Each piece of history unearthed adds complexity to our understanding of ancient Egyptian society, offering a broader view of their world and their legacy. Researchers from the Institute of Egyptology at Leipzig University have recently advanced our knowledge of the ancient Materia Sun Temple in Heliopolis, historically known as the City of the Sun. This area, long recognized as a central point for worship of the sun god Atum, stands as one of the earliest known cities in ancient Egypt. The team's findings in the Sun Temple included traces of white ash used for flooring, as well as structures built from mud bricks, highlighting the architectural techniques of the time. Additionally, they discovered quartzite stones that date back to the reign of Horemheb, the last ruler of the 18th dynasty. During their excavation, the archaeologists also uncovered stonework that could be traced back to the time of Seti II, providing further insight into the construction practices and aesthetic preferences during his reign. Other significant discoveries included fragments of limestone flooring, which suggests the luxurious finishes that characterized important buildings of that era. Moreover, the team found an unidentified royal statue, which, despite its anonymity, adds to the historical tapestry of Heliopolis, offering clues about the artistic styles and cultural symbols prevalent at the time. Could the Book of Enoch's terrifying messages about our past be true, or are they just ancient myths meant to scare us? What do you think about these shocking revelations? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.